And let's settle for the details when it comes to marketplace. Now, the president has been speaking about recent developments in UT and Capital Bank. He says that as president, he supports the initiative or the action taken by the commercial bank because these actions are needed to bring about the confidence that all of us are looking for. He was giving a speech at the 60th anniversary lecture or symposium at the Bank of Ghana. Basically, the event took place at Kempinski here in Accra.
The need to entrench reputation and credibility in the financial system is crucial. A weak banking system undermines growth. And on this basis, the current weaknesses in our banking sector need to be addressed forcefully to minimize any adverse financial consequences to unsuspecting savers and their spillover effects on the economy. My understanding is that a roadmap for addressing banking sector weaknesses is being implemented. I urge you, as the nation's central bank, to remain committed to the process and to address the challenges confronting the banking sector. This will not only guarantee financial stability, but also promote greater confidence in that sector. Your most recent measures in intervening decisively over the matters of UT Bank and Capital Bank demonstrate your preparedness to act in a manner worthy of a responsible central bank, of a praiseworthy regulator. I'm confident that you have the support of the nation.
Well, the governor himself, who actually gave the final word to go out and seal the premises of these two banks, has also been speaking about this at the 60th anniversary symposium that is currently ongoing at Kempinski. He said that they had to do this to save the industry.
The financial sector has also witnessed significant transformation over the years. From a few government-owned banks, the banking sector is now characterized by privately owned banks with diverse countries of origin. The sector continues to record asset growth and remains liquid, although some financial soundness indicators have weakened in recent times, raising concerns for financial stability. For instance, the prevalence of high non-performing loans reduces liquidity, which impacts negatively on profitability and broadly obstructs transmission mechanism of monetary policy. Mr. Chairman, as part of our mandate to maintain financial stability, the bank has embarked on a process to resolve some of the prevailing issues which threatens stability of the banking sector. Just this week, the Bank of Ghana revoked the licenses of two banks and approved a purchase and assumption agreement that allowed GCB Bank Limited to take over the affected bank's selected assets and deposits. This, together with other prudential and supervisory measures introduced by the Bank of Ghana, is geared towards safeguarding the stability of the financial system and creating a healthy financial sector capable of supporting the transformational agenda of the government.
So that was the governor of the Bank of Ghana also sharing his thoughts on this particular issue and what the Bank of Ghana is doing to actually address this problem. But we also understand that during this period, that is from 2014 to January 2017, the Bank of Ghana had to step in to support these commercial banks. We don't know, or we cannot establish now whether these banks at the Bank of Ghana was actually giving them over 5 billion Ghana cedis were the 9 banks that are said to be in distress. The following Business Desk report has more on what is actually causing this and what could be the implication of this on the entire industry.
A careful look at this financial report show that the current problems facing the banking sector in terms of concerns about their financial strength might have started around August 2014. This is because the support for banks shot up significantly from that time. For the purpose of our analysis, we focused on the bank loans from January 2014 to January 2017. The statement showed that the support levels jumped from around 200 million cedis to over 1 billion cedis as of June 2015. It is not clear for now whether all the support went to the 9 distressed banks or the entire banking industry. Joy Business can, however, confirm UT and Capital Bank got significant amount of these funds to help them in their daily operations. 2 out of the 9 distressed banks were foreign-owned financial institutions. The banks also include one local bank, which recently saw a significant growth in assets for them to join the top banks in the country. This is how they can be categorized: insolvent banks, which is UT and Capital Bank, and significantly undercapitalized bank, which we would hold on to the names for now, and undercapitalized banks. There are also questions about the loans which were even extended to the banks by the central bank, with reports that some officials at the bank might have been compromised. Well, for some, just like one of the lines in Clef Jean's song, anything can happen, which says the record is not over yet. Maybe the sector's problems are indeed not over, at least for now.
Well, indeed, the record is not over yet. I know you love that song, Wyclef Jean, and I also love that music as well. But we've been engaging the president of the Bank Association, Alhassan and Danny, on this development and whether the sector is crumbling or is about to burst.
You've got to take everything in totality. That is what the industry does, what the central bank does. It's the two work together. So liquidity support, as I said, the central bank is the lender of last resort, and it depends upon what parameters they are looking at. Yeah.
When you see a liquidity support of over the period, substantial increase from just 200 million every month to almost over 5 billion, that is worrying, some would say.
I would not know the supporting evidence behind that. Honestly, we didn't know. And that is really in the preserve of the central bank.
Are the banks moving away from the basic banking, the prudential requirements, and all those things we were told, the ABC of banking? That is why we are seeing this.
We have very strict operating minimum ratios and requirements that the central bank monitors, and all of us, without an exception, are supposed to hold onto those ratios and critical performance criteria. If there are any infractions, there could be cure periods, and what cure period and what resolution or what issues will be, how issues will be dealt with is in the preserve of a central bank. But I can assure you that the entire industry, we have very well set, well laid down minimum operating criteria, ratios and risk parameters that are constantly measured internally by ourselves, our own boards, and the central bank. And for those of us who have external, owners, we, for example, all of our operating ratios are looked at by the Reserve Bank of South Africa and the other banks that operate outside of Ghana. It cannot be what you are describing.
What is the association also doing to manage the negative contagion effect, so assure people out there that despite all these things, industries go through all these challenges every day?
Yeah.
Therefore, it's being worked on. It's work in progress. And therefore, it's good for these things to be done to ensure that that stability that we are looking forward to materializes.
Yeah, I think for us, our focus is on our depositors, because they really give us the blood to run, and therefore we are all doing whatever we can to reassure our depositors that we're taking the right measures. And I'm sure the central bank again will be going through all of the numbers to ensure the risk assets that we are taking are the appropriate risk assets, and other investments that we make are the right ones. And I tell you, it's not just what the central bank does. Is what our own internal boards do, and risk structures that exist in the bank do, and they're very strong. So I think for us now is just again all of us to reassure our customers that look, not only has this action by the Bank of Ghana shown 100% protection of depositors, what we do, even on a day-to-day basis, gives them 100% confidence that their deposits are safe.
And so that's some assurance coming from Alhassan and Danny. He is the president of the Association of Bankers. Now, this news broke on Monday and is still running, and some would say it could even run for the whole month. But how did we get here? And what are the issues going forward? My colleague Sheila Tamakulu has a wrap of this development for you.
For many, the surprise takeover of the two banks, UT Bank and Capital Bank by GCB, shows that all may not be well with the banking industry. The development also indicates a possibility of other banks going down too. But for the two banks, a number of peculiar factors may have led to the current situation.
When you look at banks, it's usually the management of the assets and liabilities, nothing more to that. Now, when there's a gap, then there should be profits to cover up the gap. When it is that your profit is going down and you have more liabilities than your assets, then there's a gap, and the gap has to be funded. So usually would fund your gap with either shareholders' equity or getting another bank to come in and bail you out. And this has been on the drawing board for quite some time.
UT Bank and Capital Bank were deeply insolvent, meaning their liabilities exceeded their assets, putting them in a position which does not allow them to meet their obligations. Despite repeated agreements between the regulator and the two defunct banks to implement an action plan in a bid to address these significant shortfalls, their owners were unable to increase their capital and avoid insolvency. Consequently, to protect customers, the Bank of Ghana had to step in.
We told you that the banks have submitted plans, we are monitoring and getting there. If you submit a plan and the plan is credible, what stops me from telling you that the plan is credible and then go ahead? But where you can't fulfill the terms and conditions of the plan, or you bring the plan and I find the plan not to be credible, I can't sit down and wait for the bank to deteriorate further on the assumption that go and tell the public that you have submitted a plan, when I know that the plan is not credible.
When there is a purchase and assumption transaction, the immediate question that runs through the minds of customers and other stakeholders is, what becomes of their funds? The case of UT and Capital Bank was no different. As the news broke under the screaming headlines, scores of customers gathered at the various branches seeking some answers, particularly as to why they could not bank as usual.
So Monday somewhere I came around 8:30 and they told me to go back. I should return back 1 o'clock. So as at now, we are not seeing anything. I mean, the only problem is that if there is anything, why didn't they tell us ATM earlier so that we should know that this is what's going on, so that we should have prepared for what is. So what they are doing there, actually, it is affecting us a lot.
My money there inside. I did do, what do you call it, insurance and account. Yeah. So now, me there, I'm very, very afraid. So right now, if they open her, I will convert all my money from inside.
I'm surrounded by some customers who say they've been here for quite some time, but officials have refused to tell them what is going on. It seems there is quite some kind of air of mystery hanging, and the customers really want to know what is going on here. But we'll be waiting to see what will come out. However, officials of the dominant bank cleared the air in a tete-a-tete with newsmen assuring clients of the safety of their funds.
We want to assure them that GCB Bank is prepared to give them the ultimate service, quality that they deserve. Their deposits are protected. We have a big balance sheet. They are part of a bigger and stronger bank, and we want to give them all the assurances that we want to earn their business and retain their business, so they should stay with us. We will make sure that we meet the expectation or exceed the expectation.
Workers of the collapsed banks were not spared the drama, as such acquisitions led to management and staff layoffs.
A few of the branches will be closed or will merge with GCB branches. Now, if you merge with a GCB branch, of course, you need more staff in that GCB branch. You know, because the volume of work goes up. They may take some staff, they may lay some off. That is the truth of the matter. That is why we said that in the selection of the assuming bank, you also have to consider how many staff are they possible they can take.
The GCB also confirmed the layoffs when its MD revealed it was going to embark on an audit of employees.
The issue about jobs, which will inevitably go, we shall conduct a skills assessment. As part of the integration process, we need to know that we can bring everyone on board or we can't bring everyone on board.
Despite all the changes, analysts maintain that more of such takeovers will be good for the industry, as many predict interesting times ahead. Financial analyst Charles Mensah explains why.
I think it's a positive thing, if you ask me, because look, we are a small country with 27 major banks. I don't think it's too much. We needed to have we needed to have not more than 10 major banks. In terms of the industry itself, it's the right time for people to be looking at merging, to be looking at acquisition, because there's no point for you to rush, to struggle.
But this whole experience may not be new to the sector. In a brief walk down memory lane, one can recount the merger between Intercontinental Bank of Ghana and Access Bank, as well as the acquisition of Trust Bank by Transnational Ecobank. But for this new development, which some industry players describe as a mess, the risk is yet to be contained.
And of course, indeed, for the bank incident and those in the financial sector, this will indeed be a case study for them, as more things might be coming out in the coming days. Now, let's look at for investment. And I know for you people think about investment. And what about investment tips? Well, something for you.
Investment Tips is brought to you by Daffin Finance, Deposits, Investments, Borrowings and Advisory.
At Daffin Finance, we offer fixed deposits of various tenors, 3 months, 6 months, and 12 months. Call accounts for your cash management. Money must not lie idle. Investment plan accounts to enable you build up cash for future use, for educational needs, for project needs, for your retirement needs, for your vacation or holiday needs.
Investment Tips was brought to you by Daffin Finance, Deposits, Investments, Borrowings and Advisory.
And I hope you've gotten something to address your curiosity when it comes to investment issues. Now, let's do some stories coming to us from the Tema Port. And from today, you're likely to use only your waybill in or manifest in covering your imported and exported goods to aid the clearance of goods at Tema Ports as well. Now, this because the relevant agencies have charged supervising the process have started a pilot, or more call it the partial automation process, for the clearance of goods at the Tema Port. Our correspondent Bella Golu has been reporting to us from Tema that it hasn't been all this smooth when it comes to this partial automation, the clearance of goods at the Tema Port.
It takes me 3 days. 3 days to get it. It's going to take us 4 hours to clear. We can't clear anything. Let's do something.
Well, indeed, they say change doesn't go down well with a lot of people, and those are some workers at the Tema Port who think that this would actually affect them. I know when you hear Chalote, it's about sleepers, but it's something else, or something that will be bubbling up over this weekend at Jamestown. My colleague Kukua Apia is there and is getting more details on this Chalote festival.
So the annual Chaliwate Festival is here again, and the Joy Business team is in Jamestown to find out from the inhabitants what the Chaliwate Festival brings to their local economy. The Chaliwate Street Art Festival has fast become one of the biggest gatherings of individuals who create and appreciate arts and culture. It brings together thousands of patrons from all walks of life to the fishing town of Jamestown, essentially to enjoy arts and culture in various forms, including street painting, graffiti murals, photography, theatre, interactive art installations, live performances, extreme sports, fashion parades, music block party, and much more. So have these activities benefited the local fisherfolk in any way?
Chaliwate participants, they come here to, see things, historical distance at Jamestown Beach. They don't normally buy fish, but at the outskirts on the road, they normally buy those crafts and so on, etc. Those people, it was those people who benefit from that is not a fish side.
Oh, Chaliwate Festival is a very good thing for us, because we the Jamestown people, it's a day of happiness for us. And sometimes we see new things like arts and other crafts things. And some of our brothers who stays in our center, they also sell things for the foreigners. So it benefits us, and it's an important day for us.
According to the chief fisherman, Ni Okaishi, although the festival has brought some pride to Jamestown, the failure of organizers to engage the fishing community before, during, and after the event has made it impossible for the natives to fully harness the economic opportunities.
The people of Jamestown, some are traders. So by all means, when it happens, they would like to come and display their wares just on the street, and people will be buying some of their products. But when you talk of fish, I don't think the people who come to watch come to buy fish at Jamestown. It do happen every year, but we, the chief fishermen of Jamestown, were not informed. So even in right now, when you ask me on which date is this taking place, I can't tell you, I don't know. The only thing is people who come to witness or who come to watch, some are from far away, and some maybe have not come to the beach. So what they do is they trek to the beach to come and have a look at how the beach is.
Some inhabitants, however, leave no stone unturned in cashing in on the surge in tourists and visitors during the week-long festival.
During the Chaliwate Festival, business cost fine. Because in program.
During the Chaliwate Festival, our business booms. We become very busy because some people not only come here to eat, but order some to take home.
Busy because I saw behind Bibia Pepe. Nasa Muba, Dokunu Biwo, Sinam Duo, Obano no Abeniano Abetoko. Say Chaliwate Nuba.
It's good because sales double during that time.
Times two, a chain to be at.
Aside such staple food vendors, the natives of Jamestown appear not to make the most of the business opportunities the festival presents, leaving a gaping question. How does the Chaliwate Festival economically impact the lives of the people? Reporting for Joy Business, this is Kukwa Apia.
I'm already salivating those lovely shrimps I'm seeing over there. So let me try my Ga lessons. Is it Chaliwate or the Chaliwate slippers? Chaliwate. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.